we have with us here someone who you can tell truly loves our homeland. And thank you so much for taking some time, Vahe, to visit with the class. What I had asked him originally to come talk about, as you can hear from the different aspects of his work history that I've mentioned, he's clearly had a lot of experience in working across cultures between many different nations, in Armenia as well. And I think that those are important skills for all of us to at least have better awareness of, as we start looking at how do we do more business outside of Armenia. It's important to have some understanding of how things may be different in other parts of the world than they are in Armenia. And so I've asked him to come in here and share some of his experiences with us. I've asked him to speak for 20 or 30 minutes and then really have a very interactive Q&A. Don't hesitate to write out some questions in the chat if you have some specific questions that you'd like him to be able to address. And again, Vahe, thank you very much for coming to join us at a very early hour in Los Angeles.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that was a long one. I think I need to wind down on new projects, when we go to a second page. Yeah, it's part of what I do is every so many years, you come into a comfort zone, and if you stay there too long, then you keep doing the same thing that you've done and your learning curve drops. So yeah. I always find something new to do. So it becomes, it stays fun and exciting. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you, Narajan. Nice to see you there, Michael. I don't know the rest of you, but some of you I know a little bit more closely. I worked with you. So yes, let me, there's an Italian component there that you mentioned. So I have done business in 3 countries, and I've done extensively. That means over 10, 12 years each. US, I didn't do much in Lebanon. I was 18, 19 when I left. So it was Italy, US, and Armenia. I've done over 10 years apiece. And it is their culturally very, very different business culture I'm talking about. Of course, here we're talking strictly in a business sense, but all of them are based on cultural differences and understanding of how businesses react, and a lot of it has to do with also the underlying culture. There are different reasons why some are geographical, some are cultural, some are religious. Why, for example, in some countries the trust factor is higher than other countries it is not, and whatnot. So there are different scenarios, but here we'll talk about practical things. So I'll identify a couple of things that are very different in these 3 business cultures. Yeah, the first one is to start any kind of business, you need equity. Yeah, so I'll talk about the equity part of it, and equity and finance. On how different countries approach it. Yes, the easiest, the one that has access to capital is the American model. American model there's a lot of equity, there's a lot of capital, and the capital is looking for good ideas, good concepts. So the whole idea of startups, but even basic equity, even bank loans, they tend to be much, much more flexible in the US. So if you want to start a business in the US, in the States, financing is an afterthought. I mean, you have the idea, you do the business plan, you think about it, and then you find sometimes funding through friends, investors, depends on the type of business it is, but it is very rare. You have to put your own equity. You have to have what they call skin in the game. You have to put some of you have to take a gamble. You have to take some money on your house, perhaps, whatnot, but then depending on the idea, you will find equity. In Italy, the same concept, just doesn't work. Anything that you need to borrow, it has to be backed by property. Italians love property in general. So if you want to go to a bank, they will even probably not look at your cash flow, how you're going to repay it, as long as they know you have property, your father's property, your property, someone's property that you can use asset, to back on the loan. In Armenia, it's a little bit more hybrid, honestly. Armenian banks that I've worked with, they do look at your business model. They see how your track record is, how you are progressing, and they will lend accordingly. So they will assess your risk and see whether it's a worthy risk that they can take. But they also insist on getting assets to back it up, So whether it's leasing or it's you have real estate that you can use as collateral, they will do. There are fundamental also differences in the US. For the most part, your liability is limited to what you invest. For the most part, banks will not insist on you signing off everything you own, which is the case probably in Italy and Armenia. So you have to give also personal guarantees. In the US, it's very rare that you basically they will look at what you have, and the risk is limited but that's also because there's a culture of the whole concept of being bankruptcy, the risk, is quite a bit of different.